Tariff is an Arabic word, or arafa, that means make known. Tariffs, many people are baffled what tariffs are. Tariffs are custom duties or taxes on goods traded between nations. They increase the price. Sometimes the importers respond by stockpiling the products. In short run, the demand increases, therefore the prices go up. Tariffs and taxes are not included in calculating the net trade figures from country to country, and taxes, they enter the GDP calculations as compared to the government expenses. Many times people think that who pay the taxes? Why the governments are talking about it? Tariffs are taxes paid not by the governments, not by the country, but by the firms of that country which are importing or exporting the goods. Who passes it on to the consumers? In the USA, CBP, Customs and Border Protection, they enforce and collect the tariffs based on the types of the goods, their quantity, or the source of the country. Sometimes they charge as a percentage of the total bill. Other times they charge on the cost per unit of the product being imported. And the CBP gives 10 days to pay the taxes at the port of the entry. We always wonder that why the tariffs are there. What is the purpose of tariffs? Tariffs are to control international trade by artificially raising the cost of importing goods, to incentivize importers to purchase goods from domestic sellers, to strengthen local economy, and to lower the competition on the domestic market or domestic sellers. Sometimes tariffs are used to achieve foreign policy goals. Sometimes they are used as a leverage in trade negotiations for various free trade agreements or for other purposes. Sometimes they help nations to modify their trade practices. Tariffs generate extra revenue for importing countries. The primary source of income until 19th century or earlier than that used to be the tariffs before the introduction of income taxes in the countries. We wonder that what are the impacts of tariffs? Sometimes when we supply certain commodities and their supply goes down, the prices go up, and the buyers may buy domestically from other suppliers. In 2009, USA tried to impose tariffs on Chinese products, Chinese tires in particular. Their sales dropped by 67%, but the prices went up. Tariffs distort the efficiency of the markets. Higher prices, decline in domestic output and productivity, and causing higher unemployment and inequality. They hold political appeal, therefore they are affecting the national goals of job creation as well as in the industries. Since they are political in nature, they create a bipartisan divide amongst the politicians. Sometimes it harms the broader economy of the nation. Prices also impacted by the tariffs. They cause inflation, and these sensitive times, people are worried about that inflation might cause recession. Since we are relating tariffs with President Trump, President Trump in his first term imposed tariffs. During the first term from 2017 to 2022, the total amount of revenue from tariffs doubled during those years, but they still account way less in the federal revenue contributions. These tariffs from 2027 to 2022, they were only accounting 1.6% of the federal revenue. Since 1960s, in almost 65 years, the duties never made up more than 2% of the total revenue. But they are even lesser part of the GDP, gross domestic product, which is less than 0.5%. The duties paid on US imports, they doubled from 2015 to 2020, from $37 billion to $74 billion. And the Biden administration thereafter, they continued those tariffs and they raised $77 billion with B for the fiscal year of 2024, which is again less than 2%. To be precise, it was less than 1.57% of the total federal revenue. Sometimes we wonder who is in charge of tariff policy. US Constitution, it allows the Congress, it authorized the Congress to control the tariffs. That was the policy up to 1930s. Thereafter, the Congress gave the authority by passing a legislation to the president to manipulate or to control the tariffs. How are the tariffs established? A country tariff, the rate depends on its trade relations with US. In October 2024, average tariff rate of US was 3.4%, whereas the reciprocal tariffs from other countries, they varied significantly. In 2024, US ITC, which is US International Trade Commission, it maintains these rates in harmonized tariff schedules. That book has about 13,000 distinct product categories. As you know, USA has free trade agreement with 14 nations, or I should say rather 14 free trade agreements with 20 trading allies. 40% of US trade export, it is with these 20 countries: Mexico, Canada, Israel, Korea, Morocco, Oman, Jordan, Chile, Peru, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, and Dominican Republic. But there are other countries with which Canada, with which the US is having significant trade through NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, and it is now renegotiated during President Trump's first term, and it was called CUSMA, Canada, US, Mexico Agreement. President Trump is also worried about value-added taxes from Europe. He says that he loves tariffs and he hates VAT. VATs, they are worse than tariffs according to his terminology. It sparked fear of a trade war with Europe as well. There are 175 countries, or a little more than that, they have a VAT system. It is a reciprocal tariff system. European Union has about 22% tariff, which could be hardest hit by the new tariff which is announced by President Trump. European unions, for example, on autos, they charge 10% tariff, whereas if they import cars from US, they only charge 2.5%, which is 4 times less. That's why President Trump calls it discriminatory, and he's quite concerned about these tariffs. During all this time, when the tariffs are imposed, there is a huge challenge for the importers and exporters. That's where Global Chamber of Commerce and Industry would help to all the members and facilitate the issues if there are any trade disputes, or convince the governments to give some exemptions from certain products or impose tariffs sector by sector. So the role of Global Chamber of Commerce and Industry is prominent. That's why we ask you to join at the same website, www.gcocir.org. or you can email at info@gcoci.ca.